Welcome to this edition of ARTV News. I'm Tony Beauvais. In this show, Titanic, the Artefact exhibition, Impromptu, a regular surprise at the Alex Theatre, Planetary redesign, a reminder of the Australian Music Vault, the meaning of astrology symbols, and ARTV magazine with Morgan Ray. The iconic postcard show is back at Lyndon New Art. The exhibition attracts a diverse range of participants, including established and mid-career artists, school graduates, Indigenous art centres and artists, and people in the community who have an artistic flair. This year, the exhibition takes a leap into experimental practices by removing the previous dimension and medium constraints for entry. This year includes over 1,000 works with 2D, sculptures, video and audio. Included in the awards is a new tertiary education prize and an Indigenous Artist Prize. In a first for the postcard show, it will see a dedicated exhibition within the exhibition, showcasing 2 series of postcards made by students from Yirrkala School in northeast Arnhem Land. The long-standing exhibition is open to everyone. Check the website for further details. Step into the Alex Theatre, where an enchanting evening of Broadway melodies and nostalgia awaits. Immerse yourself in the ambience as the talented Mark Bradley takes centre stage at the grand piano, igniting a symphony of voices that will truly captivate. Enhancing this experience is the Alex's Broadway-themed bar, curating a unique cocktail for each event that pays homage to the iconic shows that have left their mark on the stage. The doors swing open promptly at 7 p.m, ushering you into a world brimming with musical possibilities. Prepare to be spellbound as the true magic of the evening unfolds. Music Theatre Open Mic Night is in St Kilda, where the essence of Broadway springs to life with every note played and every sip savoured. No sheet music required, just bring your voice, enthusiasm and dreams of being a Broadway star. Check the Alex Theatre website for details. 41 artists have been selected for Not Fair 2023. The Melbourne Art Fair, that is determinedly different, is back this year with new curators, new venues and a host of new artists. One thing that hasn't changed is a basic Not Fair curatorial premise, with artists selected on Not Fair's commitment to diversity, supporting, unearthing and empowering artists. Exhibited artists can be emerging, mid-career or well-established artists who might be totally unknown or already quite successful. The key criteria is that the curators believe that more people should know about these artists' works. The main Not Fair 2023 show, entitled Alchemy, will be held at 333 Malvern Road, South Yarra. Check the website for details. The University of Melbourne has featured the groundbreaking exhibition Dark Matters, which unravels the mystery of dark matter through an immersive fusion of arts and science. Developed in collaboration with Arts at CERN and the ARC Centre of Excellence for Dark Matter Particle Physics, this exhibition is the first Australian partnership with the globally acclaimed Arts at CERN program. Dark Matters emerges from the unique combination of creativity and particle physics, bringing together artists and scientists to delve into the unfathomable world of dark matter. Curated with Monica Ballo, Head of Arts at CERN, the exhibition showcases a collection of novel arts and science explorations that grapple with dark matter's intangible and perplexing nature. The exhibition closes on the 12th of December. For more details, visit the Science Gallery Melbourne website. Australia's favourite adults-only Christmas comedy show is coming to St Kilda. Indulge in some adult-only elf care with music and talented performers and Christmas classics if you've never heard them before. But be warned, you may never hear your favourite carols the same way again. Whether you've been naughty or nice this year, a very naughty Christmas will put you straight on Santa's naughty list. Willingly, A Very Naughty Christmas is on at the Alex Theatre from the 7th to the 23rd of December. Check out the website for booking details. One of the most famous tragedies in modern history, the story of the Titanic and its ill-fated maiden voyage, continues to enthrall, educate and break hearts more than 110 years since she sank to the bottom of the ocean. This is the only exhibition in Australia to feature more than 200 real artefacts recovered directly from the wreck site. Titanic, the artefact exhibition, focuses on the voyage's compelling human stories, taking visitors on a memorable journey through the events of that fateful night. Learn about the ship's innovative engineering, touch an iceberg that is the same temperature as the freezing waters of the North Atlantic Ocean that night, and experience life on board through full-scale recreations of the ship's interiors. including the iconic Grand Staircase. Collect your boarding pass and embark on a journey to explore the powerful stories of those who travelled and worked on board this legendary ship at the Melbourne Museum on the 16th of December. See the website for details.
Imagine this. You enter into an enchanting movie theatre. The anticipation is building as you nestle into your plush seat. But then, out of nowhere, a brilliant flash of light suddenly pierces the darkness, and before you know it, the movie begins. Originally conceived as a musical in 2013, The Impromptus has since evolved into a unique and highly acclaimed brand of improvised musical theatre that has captivated audiences nationwide. What sets us apart is a promise that no two performances are ever the same. This diversity and unpredictability have earned The Impromptus the honour of being nominated for the Best Comedy at the Australian Podcast Awards, not once, but twice. Their reputation extends beyond borders, as they have consistently sold out shows at prestigious festivals throughout Australia and even at the renowned Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Indeed, The Impromptus offers a theatrical experience that defies convention and exceeds expectations. During each live performance, the talented ensemble takes a single suggestion from the audience and transforms it into a 1-hour improvised musical extravaganza. Everything from the melodies and witty dialogues to the show-stopping songs and choreographed dance routines is crafted spontaneously right before your eyes. It's a creative tour de force that invites you to challenge their skills and imagination with any idea you can muster. This dynamic and interactive approach ensures that each show is a truly unique and unforgettable spectacle that will leave you amazed, amused, and thoroughly entertained.
The Melbourne Arts Centre and the Australian Recording Industry Association have partnered up to create one of the most exciting music exhibitions in the world. The Australian Music Vault showcases artefacts and memorabilia from the complete history of Australian music. This free exhibition currently has 6 showcase sections. The Agents of Change section, The Wild Ones, takes a deep dive into the trailblazers of Australian music, and you can see the amazing work of our First Nation artists in the National Indigenous Music Awards Hall of Fame. The other showcases include The Real Thing. The Melbourne Electric Sound Studio covers how a small, non-for-profit organisation revolutionised the ability and process of producing music, as well as the ability to create your own mixtape as you enjoy the exhibition. And with new experiences, footage and objects on the way, there is always an incentive to come back to the vault. For more information, interviews including Australian music legends such as Paul Kelly and John Farman, go to Australian Music Vault.
Planetary Redesign is the first major Australian solo exhibition of filmmaker and speculative architect Liam Young. Through an immersive display of moving image works, costumes and photography, The Great Endeavour 2023 depicts the construction of a global system of greenhouse gas extraction and storage, powered by vast renewable energy infrastructures, together capable of removing huge quantities of greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. Also on display is Young's film Planet City 2020, which provides a window into the alternative urban future. Commissioned for the NGV Triennial in 2020 and supported by the Bago Uzurja Foundation, it depicts the design of a new city for the whole human population on Earth. It questions whether the accelerating impacts of climate change could urge everyone to retreat together into one hyper-dense, sustainable metropolis, providing space for the rest of the planet to recover as wilderness. The exhibition speculates that the climate emergency is no longer a technological problem. It is now a social, cultural and political one. It offers hope that through creativity and collective action we can move together towards ecological balance on Earth. It is now on at the Ian Cotter Centre, NGV Australia, Fed Square. See the website for details. Symbols may not be at the front of our thoughts that often, but they have been a definitive source of communication since early mankind. Often, the association with a symbol was all early man needed. a sign representing an idea or an object was all it took to communicate. So it makes sense that symbols became a part of our universal language. Given the ancients' respect and values placed on the planets, it is not surprising that symbols were created to represent what were considered the heavenly bodies within the universe. From the confidence of Jupiter to the beauty of Venus, each planet has been given its own symbolic meaning. The fact that the ancients introduced astrology symbols as part of our universal language so many years ago makes perfect sense. The amount of respect given to the stars since man first arrived has never been and will never be equal. Astrology symbols represent a variety of characteristics and influences from each of the signs. From the confidence of the Aries ram to the balance of Libra's scales, each sign has its own symbol for a purpose. The symbol for Aries is the ram. The ram as a symbol represents the horns of a ram. It signifies a head-on approach to life, and the ram reflects leadership, confidence, drive and courage. The symbol for Taurus is the bull. The bull as a symbol represents the head and the horns of a bull. It signifies a sturdy approach to life. The bull reflects strength, power, stamina and resolution. The symbol for Gemini is the twins. The twins as a symbol shows two lines joined together. The twins reflect intellect, creativity, interaction, adaptability and liberty. The symbol for Cancer is the crab. The crab as a symbol represents self-preservation. The crab reflects complexity, sensitivity, support, durability and emotion. The symbol for Leo is the lion. The lion as a symbol represents the mane of the lion. The lion reflects leadership, nobility, strength, courage and pride. The symbol for Virgo is the virgin. The virgin as a symbol represents the sexual organs with an inward tail closing off entry. The virgin reflects practicality, perfectionism, truth, dignity and composure. The symbol for Libra is the scales. The scales as a symbol represents a setting sun balanced between night and day. And the scales reflect harmony, partnerships, fairness, popularity and beauty. The symbol for Scorpio is the scorpion. The scorpion as a symbol represents the male sexual organs with an upturned tail striving for a higher calling to action. And the scorpion reflects intensity, inspiration, assertiveness and purpose. The symbol for Sagittarius is the archer. The arrow as a symbol represents the drawn arrow of the archer. The arrow reflects bravery, direction, focus, poise and thought. The symbol for Capricorn is the goat. The goat as a symbol represents the beard of the goat, as in the V, and the tail of a fish. The goat reflects leadership, practicality, patience, truth and pride. The symbol for Aquarius is the water bearer, and the water bearer reflects freshness, equality, vision, freedom and individuality. The symbol for Pisces is the two fish, and the fish reflect unity, mysticism, understanding, honesty and emotion. Some symbols are so ancient, it's not quite fully understood just how they evolved. But what we can be certain of, however, is that they have been a definitive source of communication for thousands of years.
On today's program, we have Bronwyn Kidd, an Australian photographer known for her fashion and portraiture. Welcome to the show, Bronwyn.
Thank you, Morgan. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Now tell us a little bit about where you began in the fashion industry. I believe it was in London, correct?
Yeah, I went to London after having done some study at RMIT and failing RMIT, and I assisted some local photographers for a couple of years, and then I went to London. And when I got to London, I hooked up with a friend who was already working as a photographic assistant for some fashion photographers. And when she saw the work that I'd been doing for my folio to take to London, she said, "You must go and meet Hardy Amies." And I didn't realise who Hardy Amies was. I didn't know who Hardy Amies was, but basically he's the couturier for the Queen. He is in the famous Savile Row. So I went off, still not knowing really who he was, took my folio in and started working with him. I was 23 and pretty green actually, not really understanding you know, the history behind where I was standing, and what I saw was just a slice of yesteryear that was still happening in 1992, and it was so exciting. The clothes, the ball gowns, the incredible suits, the aristocracy that walked through the door. I wasn't shooting for them all the time, but I did several seasons work for them, and also they asked me to photograph their new bridal collection, which Hardy Amys wanted to shoot at Buckingham Palace, but the Charles and Diana split up just at that time, so that didn't happen. But it was an amazing introduction to what was a really different style of fashion that was going on, because the grunge movement was happening at that time, and there I was in couture world while grunge is happening. It was odd, but it was kind of perfect for me.
Right. How was that, being behind the lens and seeing a whole nother world to maybe what was going on in reality? It kind of felt right for me, because growing up, my mum loved sort of Hitchcock movies, and you know, I don't know how many times I saw Rear Window and that whole elegance, and you know, the whole 1940s, the gowns and everything. I suppose it was just an extension of that fantasy world for me, and the way that I shot was right for them. So I was, you know, I was a disciplined classic photographer. I did cinematic lighting. I positioned the gown. You know, it wasn't bridal. It wasn't like you might think of. It was couture. It was sort of following in the footsteps of Beaton, Parkinson. You know, the photographers that did all those gown images, and Beaton shot for Hardy Amys also. So, you know, it just felt like a great, perfect start for me, you know, as a young photographer. Right. So, I mean, you were young. You were so young, and you had failed out of college. So, did you just have this style of your own that emerged through just getting and doing the work? Yeah. When
I ended up going part-time because I'd failed the science part of the art degree at college. I just wasn't interested, you know, in that, and so I started assisting, and the photographer that I assisted was very influenced by Richard Avedon and, you know, the classic photographers, Guy Bourdin, you know, the beautiful old world of Horst, and so it influenced me as well, and it's just the right fit. You know, he was the right fit for me. Going to London and working with Hardy Amys was the right fit, and it just felt comfortable. It wasn't, I suppose, until digital that things started to change, and our shooting style changed, and with Photoshop our shooting style changed as well. But pre all of that, I was working with hand retouchers that retouched in the 1930s for beauty campaigns. You know, I was working with then people who did airbrushing. I was working with Parkinson and Beaton's printers, you know, through Condé Nast, and so the world hadn't changed that much, you know, when I first started from the yesteryear or the time when the people that I really admired were working, you know, like Beaton and Parkinson, etc. Our technique was still the same, but then when digital came, you know, a lot changed. Things got kind of sassier and a little bit more sci-fi, and a little bit more, you know, very retouched, and makeup changed, and everything changed, and really I had to change with that by that time. But I was lucky to have that kind of introduction where I could really firmly, you know, place my feet on the ground and do what I really loved doing, and live in that fantasy world for as long as I could, you know. Yeah, when you have such vibrant, colorful, well, I mean, actually it varies between black and white and colorful, but you spoke about influence, digital, and you're on Instagram. How has
for example, and how has that been in this digital world with copywriting or people using images? Have you had any experiences?
Yeah, it's very hard. I stick to my principles. I've had some people change colours of my photos when they've, you know, put them on their own feed. I've had even pictures that have been done by clients 30 years ago then be, you know, a colour picture be turned to black and white. We never shot in black and white, you know, things like that. And I've really put my foot down. I've called them and I said, you can't do this, you know. I think for me, having you know, had a very quite a long time, you know, half of my career in analogue, the process is really important. You know, you choose a roll of film because you want a certain look. So when someone takes it and completely changes it, that's really changing the whole structure of the image and the intent of the image. So I call it out, you know, when I can. Some things though, you just kind of have to let go, and some publicities, you know, just you think, well, I'll just let that go when people sort of, you know, take your image. But you know, it's grey. It's a grey area. It's up to us to enforce how we want it to look. Right. Yeah.
Now, on a brighter note,
yeah, sorry.
no, but I think this is relevant,
yeah.
You know, to be talked about, because it's I've had experience with it, and
yeah.
I've heard about others, so it's copyright is a hot topic.
Yeah.
Now, what's it been like from, you know, going from London where you're in fashion and then you're here back in Australia and you're now doing your own work?
Yeah.
I mean, what is that like?
Yeah, it's I came back in 2004 and I sort of hit the ground running doing commercial work. I was doing quite big ad campaigns and I think, you know, that has its time. I felt like I needed to step out, so I had a bit of time out and I went back on my archive back to 1985 and I started to revisit all my images and that was quite a journey. It's like reading an old diary. It's consuming and it's not something you can do really quickly, but I think it sort of put my love for photography back into perspective, my love for the craft of photography back into perspective, and I think that's something now, you know, moving into, I mean, I've always done images that have been quite highly directed by me and my team, even if it's a commercial job, but now moving into more of a world where I'm just making pictures, you know, for the wall. I'm really excited to put everything I know and have learnt into those images and for it to be very authentic photography.
And you mentioned team. Do you have a team working with you now?
At the moment, no, but I have always had a team. I've had makeup artists, you know, stylists, my assistants, maybe 3 or 4 of them. I've always had, you know, art directors to work with and creative directors and a client. But at the moment, well, yeah, I'm working on a collaboration with Rosalind Piggott. We're doing some portraits together, which is really exciting. So I suppose that's a new style of team where her input is really important because they're portraits of her. So that it's a new approach. It's not like the team I'm used to. Well, I still collaborate with my team, but it's more of it's a different type of collaboration.
Oh. And now, what would you like our viewers to know, or like what's a message that you could share for those that are starting out in the field of photography? Do you have any tips for them?
I think it's really important to look at film, look at painting, look at all types of art to sort of find your expression. And I think it's really important to look back on history as well and see what people have done before, because, you know, it's extraordinary what's been done. And for me, myself, I've been recently looking at I recently did an orotone, which is a gold glass print. I've never delved into those worlds, but again, it's sort of it's deepened my understanding of photography. I think you know, take your time, research, experiment, and above all, you know, enjoy it.
If you'd like to contact us and let us know about any live event coming up the next month in the Inner Melbourne region, just shoot us an email at info@artv.com.au. See you next time.